Robbie, I'm going to come to you to start the conversation today.
Sure.
And just share with us what, after my introduction there, what does Sabre see as the top priority for TMCs in your view?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for the opportunity to chat today, Andrew. Listen, I think I like how you're posing the question, number one, because you're not asking me sort of what are the top priorities for Sabre, kind of based on your introduction and the things that we're thinking about, but you're asking how are we thinking about the top priorities of our customers? And as the resident strategy guy, I'm always pushing our product leaders like Sarah to really take a customer perspective, right? One of the things I like to do, I don't know if you guys have done this before, but is I call it the executive wake-up test, which basically is I work with the leaders and I say, if you were the leader of X customer, so if you were the leader of a TMC, when you wake up in the morning, what's that thing you're thinking about, right? Like what's the thing you're worried about? What's the thing you're excited about? What are those things? And for me, that helps to couch sort of today's urgent priorities. What are the things that people care about the most? And I'm going to say, I think this will come as no shock to you from conversations that I've had and just based on this conversation, that the use and deployment of technology is clearly one of the top priorities for TMCs. And there was a global survey done by GBTA and FCM earlier this year, and it asked a number of corporate travel managers kind of what their number one criteria was in selecting a TMC. And the number one answer was around technology. It was technology. It was ahead of costs. It was ahead of account management quality, all of those things. And so if it's about technology, and that's what we're talking about today, I think probably I should lean into kind of what are some of the most top of mind things around technology that are on our TMC leaders' minds. And I think chief amongst those, we can't not talk about talent recruitment and staff productivity, because we've got those two challenges right now, right? You've got staffing shortages. I think that's everywhere. Certainly by region, it varies. And then you've got this increasing demand for traveler servicing, disruption, and all that's being lifted up by the kind of ever increasing volume of business travel that's going on. So I think that's going to be a huge priority, or is a huge priority. And really our leaders, our TMC leaders are then asking, how do I do more with less? How do I manage this? So on the technology side, of course, that means we're thinking about the automation of service tasks and trying to figure out how to enable our TMC partners to elevate their customer experience. And of course, to do that at scale.
Yeah, no, thank you. And what's interesting is that our new Prime Minister here in the UK has given a statement that in the UK we are less productive. So anything that you can do to help our agents and our frontline staff be more productive is fantastic. And I want to come back to staffing and talent and productivity a bit later. But aside from that, I mean, is there any other kind of key topics you want to call out around what you're hearing from the TMCs when you're having some of these kind of key discussions on that investment of future, which we spoke about in the introduction?
Yeah, sure. I would say there's probably kind of two more things I like to talk about, or that we end up in a lot of conversation around. One is on content sourcing. I'd call it content sourcing. And then the other is really around sort of the use. There's a lot of data around. So the use of a data, intelligence, and intelligent offers. So if I double click those two maybe for a second, on content sourcing, I think we all know the story in the industry, right? Suppliers, really everybody who's playing, but it's kind of leading with suppliers, are thinking about how to create and capture new value for the traveler. And so what that's meant is sort of different offers, different content, and different channels. Airline partners in particular are thinking about how to deploy different content regimes and technologies. That's where we get into the NDC conversation. And so there's an impact to the TMC. So the TMC leaders are, again, waking up in the morning thinking about how do they manage this content fragmentation. And what we know for sure, especially based on the conversation on not having enough resource to manage everything, is that you don't want to run a TMC or an agency of any kind where you're getting some content from a website and some content from an aggregator and some content from a GDS and some content from 1,000 other sources. It's just not manageable. It's not effective. And it's hard to get all of that in one place. And then certainly our customers, corporations, the corporate traveler doesn't want to have to doubt that they're getting the best deal. And the corporate travel manager doesn't want to have to doubt that they can't put in place policy, apply profiles, make sure that the reporting is in place to track budgets and all of that. So I think all of those are moving pieces around content sourcing. So certainly our perspective at Sabre is that the GDS can help extend choice And we do that by thinking about all the places where content is, NDC, LCC, third-party content, and trying to think more as a platform provider, right? So how do we establish those efficient connections that enable our TMC partners to have the content and then also to manage it effectively and that to integrate it into workflows? And then I'd say kind of the final piece, just briefly, is around intelligence and intelligent offers. There's a ton of data, right? So like if we can get all of the content in one place, I think our TMC partners are saying, help us think through how to better use the data we have, and especially around AI and ML, right? So how do we apply machine learning, artificial intelligence? Everybody knows it's out there and capabilities are increasing, but what I'm hearing are still a lot of questions on how to deploy that effectively, specific to each customer's needs.